We are Doug8798, the most electrifying people in all of the YouTube today. I had originally wanted to see Thor. I originally wanted to see Thor 2 weeks ago, but for reasons beyond my control, I could not. So, sorry for the late review. I caught a showing of Thor yesterday at 5:15. And this movie was awesome. This movie was phenomenal. It was even better than I thought it would be when I saw the trailer back in January. Of course, I've never really been familiar with the Thor comics. I've only been familiar with the Thor character because of his inclusion with the Marvel team, the Avengers. But I never knew about the story of Thor, other than that he was the god of thunder and that he was the son of Odin. I never really knew about this mythology, the history between Thor and his brother Loki, and all these other cool but weird characters I saw in this film. Okay, but now but it looks like it followed the comics really well. Chris Hemsworth, the guy who plays Thor, he talks. He not only does he look like Thor, he talks like Thor. Okay, now for the plot. Of course, the film tells the story of Thor, a god who is exiled from his homeland of Asgard by his father Odin for treason. While on Earth, he builds a relationship with a scientist named Jane Foster, portrayed by Natalie Portman of Star Wars and Color fame. He builds a friendship with Jane Foster. Her friends, Darcy Lewis, who is her assistant, and another guy named Eric Selvig, who is a guy who originally thought Thor was only a myth that the ancients believed. But of course, as the film goes along, he begins to see that Thor and that the fictional place of Asgard is real. So while on Earth, Thor of course is stripped of all his godly powers, but he is still quite strong because he still took out an army of people. But he's much weaker because he can be taken out because he was sedated several times. He was sedated and electrocuted several times in this film, and he was unable to pull out his hammer. No one could pull out his hammer. No one could pull out his hammer until no one can pull out the hammer until the wielder of the hammer proved that they were worthy of using it. Like I said, that's the plot of the story. Of course, the characters are, of course, Thor, the god of thunder, of course, based on the Norse mythology deity of the same name. Of course, like I said before, he was originally chosen by his father Odin to be king, but he committed treason, and in his father's eyes, Odin proved that he was not ready to become king. So of course, like I said before, once again he gets stripped of most of his godly powers and sent to Earth. His brother and the antagonist of Thor is Loki. The antagonist of this movie is Loki. Loki is Thor's adoptive brother and nemesis, also based on the deity of the same name. He's jealous of the fact that Thor is actually Odin's son, whereas Loki was originally belonged to the race of the Frost people, the arch enemies of the Thor's people. Belong to the Frost, and is now jealous of Thor, and wishes to be king. Then of course there's Odin, Thor's father. He's the ruler of Asgard. He's the real father of Thor and the adoptive father of Loki, also based on the mythological deity of the same name. He had originally chose Thor because he thought it was Thor's time to be king, but once again Thor commits treason, and Odin strips Thor of his armor, most of his godly powers, and of course sends him to Earth. Like I said before, while on Earth, Thor builds a comedic relationship with Jane Foster, a scientist, Eric Selvig, one of her assistants, who, like I said before, originally discovered Thor, but thought it was a myth and something and really didn't believe it and dismissed it. But like I said before, as the film goes along, he starts accepting that Thor and that fictional place of Asgard is real. And of course he's also followed by Darcy Lewis, who's Jane Foster's assistant, who is nice and all, but is really clueless as to what's going on. That's a running gag in the film. Everybody being really clueless or just unknown to what's going on in this film. There's then now for the other characters, then there's Laufey, who is king of the Frost people and a minor antagonist right before Loki. Like I said before, he is king of the Frost people, and he is Loki's biological father. He is also based on the mythological being of the same name. He's of course, his people, the Frost people, are in war with Thor's or Odin's people, and he wishes to kill Odin. He wishes to kill Odin himself. Also joined by Thor are his friends. I keep forgetting the guy's name. What was that guy's name? What was that guy's name? Abba. There's this guy. There's this big. I keep forgetting his name, but there's this big black guy in gold armor who's of course the gatekeeper. He helps Thor and his friends travels to Earth, and that's actually all the characters I remember. You're gonna have to see the movie itself. There's so much. It was so complex. But like I said before, Thor. This movie was awesome. Like I said before, it was better than I expected. I'm glad Paramount treats these Marvel characters with respect. They actually make these comic book movies for the fans. I can tell when I look at this was made for the fans, just like Iron Man. And I also saw a trailer for Captain America, which, in my opinion, in the leaked photos did not look good, but I saw a trailer and it looks freaking awesome. Versus something like an X-Men. I love the original X-Men, Fantastic Four, and the Dragon Ball movies, but those were just made for money. They were not made with passion. They were not made for the fans. 20th Century Fox, they have a habit of doing what they want to do with the license, but I'm glad Thor didn't do that. Like I said before, all the performances in this movie were great. Everybody looks and acts like their character. Everyone looks, acts like, and talks like their character. The fight scenes and the special effects were epic. They were even more epic than I thought they would be. And like I said before, I like how, even though this is mostly a normal superhero action flick, it tries to be more than that. It tries to actually tell a story instead of just being a goofy, over the top, campy action flick. Well, that's all I got to say. I'm done. Yeah, you got to see this movie.